I'll bet you that this week there's going to be a circumstance where you have a problem with a brother or sister in Christ. And this is how you handle it. Joshua chapter 22. In Joshua 22, the eastern tribes go back across the Jordan. They had decided that they were going to live on the other side of the Jordan, but help their brothers fight. And now it's been 7 years, and they're going back across the Jordan, the Reubenites and the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh. They go back across, and immediately they build this altar. The other 10 tribes of Israel see the altar, and they assume that they're worshiping a foreign god. And without even talking about it, they say, we're going to go fight these people. We're going to kill them. Remember, this is their brothers, their brother tribes. Let's look at what happens here. What they decide before they go and kill the pagans, they say, we're going to send Phinehas, the high priest, to warn them. And here's what Phinehas says. He says, what treachery is this? He says, this is a rival place of worship. You know, you're only supposed to worship at Shiloh, according to Leviticus 17. And that's a good reminder. We can't worship God any way we want to. We worship him in spirit and in truth. And there's a lot of illegitimate ways to worship God. He says, this is like the sin of Peor. Now, Phinehas reminds him that one day a bunch of the men had sex with the women of Moab, and God killed 24,000 of them. He says, God's going to be angry with the whole congregation, all of Israel. He reminds them that, look, no one sins unto themselves. It's true. You don't sin without other people paying the consequence for it too. He says, take your possession among us. He says, look, you guys can cross over the Jordan, and we will give you part of our land. They were willing to make a great sacrifice so these other tribes could walk with God. Here's the response. They say, the God of gods, he knows. God was their refuge first. Sometimes people are going to say something evil of you, and always know God knows your heart. Don't worry too much about what they think. Understand God knows their heart. Then they explain this was not a place to worship foreign gods. This was a memorial to remind our kids and your kids that we're one. We're Israel too, even though we live on the other side of the Jordan. And these two segments are linked. Phinehas heard the words and said, wow, this is a good thing. I'm pleased. Israel heard this, and they responded really good. Here's what I think you need to learn from this. Number one, when you see your brother living in sin, you should have concern. A healthy body purges the impurities from itself. And we need to be concerned with our brother. We just can't say, well, they're fine on their own. But secondly, you need to confront in love. And they did that by sending Phinehas, the high priest. You need to have love and confront and have guts and not gossip about it. Number three, listen to what they say. You only know what you see or what you think you see. Listen to what they say. Number four, be willing to sacrifice to help them. This is where almost all confrontation falls down. It's law, you know, and you broke the law. Instead of saying, hey, how can I help you? I will sacrifice myself for you. How can I sacrifice for you? That's what these tribes were willing to do. We got to be willing to sacrifice. Number five, see their perspective. We almost never do that either. We're like, well, that's just the way I see it. Even the tribes that were accused put themselves in the accuser's shoes and said, I could see how seeing a big monument would make you think I'm worshiping a foreign god. I want to assure you, I'm not. That's pretty big of them. I mean, both of them were doing the right thing. And then number six, believe the best. Believe the best about your brother. If they say, hey, look, this is what's going on, believe the best about them. This is how we deal with differences in the body.